and welcome to Undercurrent, where we look at what's been happening in the Perth community. I'm your host, Lucy Marchant. In this week's episode of Undercurrent, we discuss the accessibility of Australian healthcare, experience a short course on sustainable living, and show you some of the highlights of the WA Screen Awards. But first, this week's NAIDOC celebrations took over the Perth Cultural Centre, and we went along to check it out. NAIDOC Week is a time to celebrate the culture and achievements of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people. Today we're at the Perth Cultural Centre, where there's paintings happening, music, bush tucker food and native plant displays. Let's check it out. Can you tell us a little bit about what we have here?
Yeah, we're just doing a swamp because it's in Perth and there's like swamps everywhere. So we decided to do a design about the swamp and with some of the waterholes. So we added a turtle because turtles are found in the swamp. So yeah.
When did you start painting?
Probably about when I was 11. You know, I used to always watch my nan and my mum do it all the time. And
can you tell us about the colours you're using today? And I can see you've got a painting instrument here.
This is you can use anything for dots. Like for the big dots we use this here. And for the small dots we use like screws and chopsticks, so it makes more better. And this is the outland of the land, and in this part here we use the lighter colour so it shows more of the land part. And the green and the light green is the water, because you know the swamp is green and yucky and stuff. And the water holes, that's the water holes there. So we use different designs with other people coming in. So we decided to do like different designs of water holes.
At today's NAIDOC celebrations?
I think it's really good that, you know, everyone's coming together as one, you know, and other people that don't know about Aboriginal culture, they get to know now, you know, what it's like and what happened, and, you know, they can see art and they can try to do it themselves.
Beautiful. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Max's Black has really developed from a family recipe that my mum always made for our family. My mum had a way of just bringing different people around the table. So I started experimenting with her sauce and infusing it with Australian bush herbs, because I wanted to sort of give Australians and international visitors the taste of the country, so the taste of Australia. So Max is about bringing people around the table, feeding them, sharing the love between, you know, loving people around you. And we try to work with other Aboriginal people that are looking to grow their own enterprises as well.
Mark, what have we got here?
Right, well, this is a range of Australian plants. It's called tuckerbush, and they come from all over Australia. So we've got some from Queensland, New South Wales, and also there's a few here from WA as well. So.
How did you get involved in these native plants and growing these?
A lot of call, a lot of traditional people have been helping me along the way and sharing their information. So really it's just about education and making these plants more accessible to people. You know, a lot of the chefs, people are starting to use them in cooking quite a bit, but they can't get hold of the plants or access the products themselves. So it's really just a way to kind of fill in the gap and make them more, you know, accessible to everyday people.
Is this your first time celebrating NAIDOC or participating in the celebration?
Well, it is for me here. Traditionally in the past, you know, I've always tried to help out, but it's my first time here. So.
We're fortunate to have delivered public spaces in Perth where people come together to celebrate Perth, and in this case for NAIDOC Week they become the prime location for NAIDOC celebrations, where all people can come together and enjoy and celebrate the achievements of Aboriginal and Indigenous people.
What events have you put on for us this week?
Hosted the launch or the opening of NAIDOC Week down in Elizabeth Quay this year, so we're very excited by that with Elizabeth Quay opening just this year, so it's become a key place for people of Perth to gravitate to, so perfect opportunity for NAIDOC Week to be launched and now throughout the city, Elizabeth Quay and the Cultural Centre hosting key events. We're really excited and proud to be involved. We've got a great relationship with the Whadjuk people, and I guess in our value or our vision is to create authentic places for Perth, and for us having the involvement of the Whadjuk, given all our projects are on Whadjuk land, really important for us for them to be involved, and it doesn't get more authentic for us than to have that and to be able to tell the story. So the theme of NAIDOC Week being storylines, it's really great alignment for us to be involved and for the Whadjuk people to be involved in how we create places such as Yagan Square, and really exciting to see them coming through.
Lucy Marchant for Undercurrent. Australia has one of the best healthcare systems in the world, but it's not always understood by everyone. Angela with the report.
The Multicultural Services of Western Australia brought together several multicultural groups today to launch a new health program, and Undercurrent found out more.
So the program is very much about creating a sense of awareness within the population that's called marginal or cold communities, and we're trying to create some awareness about the bloodborne viruses, STIs, HIV and AIDS. It's very much about how do we care about our health, what do we do to look after ourselves, and what happens if you don't look after our health. Information about the infection and the prevalence of it, how people get infected, what to do about it. Most of them don't even know how to go to the doctors and talk about things because they really are not even aware. The follow-up from the GPs, that's another huge gap, because it's really the GPs who need to be following up with a lot of this. But it's all about giving information, because these are communities that really haven't had the opportunity to get access to a lot of this information.
My Health, Our Health program is being developed in conjunction with the ethnic communities and the Department of Health to ensure that we are as effective as possible in communicating important health messages to culturally and linguistically diverse communities in Western Australia, particularly in relation to sexual health and bloodborne diseases. Historically, there's been something of a reluctance to talk about some of those issues going back 20 or 30 years. There's now a recognition that we need to ensure that people are well informed and well educated so that they themselves don't become carriers of disease, and hopefully so there's not a wider impact on the wider community.
Until now, we are still calling a person who arrived to Australia as a refugee. It takes them years and they are still labelled a refugee. For them, even after obtaining their own citizenship, they are still called a refugee. To change the status of a human being, you need to work with the human being, and the person also have to acknowledge that it is a journey. It actually finished when they arrived to Australia. Right now they are here and they need to make it work for themselves in the new life.
I mean, there are several different issues, but in reference to this program that we are running, just the lack of information and their lack of understanding or awareness of infections, which are actually at this point treatable. There is medication. The medical side of things, it suggests that many of these infections can be treated. However, they're not accessing the services because they don't know very much about these services.
Most of our cold community, again, they are not even aware about their health files with the GP. So we always tell the members that when you go to the GP, make sure you register all your health problems with the GP, so that the GP is aware that at least these are the issues you have, these are your health concerns, and if there is any other issues you want us, go to the service providers and they will be able to assist you with that.
Because of the nature of the funding, which is targeting bloodborne viruses and STIs, as we know in these communities, there's a huge stigma around this because it's understood purely to be sexually transmitted, but there are other ways of getting this infection. So what multicultural we are doing is approaching it from my health, our health. So it's talking about overall health. So it's from diabetes to cholesterol to blood pressure, cardio problems. So we are kind of trying to approach it from the holistic approach, whereby people will engage more with us.
We're also beginning to see is the people that come to use this particular service, we're also able to then, refer them on to the other services that we offer in the areas of, as I said, housing, employment, emergency relief, settlement services.
It's about understanding the concept of migration, the concept of traveling and becoming a refugee in a country and taking the constitution and the legislation of the country to be my own and accept it as is.
This is a very sincere message to all of you from communities that are not mainstream. Listen, we'd love to talk to you, whether it's diabetes or it's hearing or it's housing, financial, anything, because we approach this quite holistically. So we'd like you to come to Multicultural Services, and our contact numbers are 9328 2699. And please ask for anybody working in the team of My Health, Our Health. We really would like to hear from you.
I'm Angela Albuquerque for Undercurrent.
The battle between ride-sharing services and the taxi industry continues, and this could be costing you. Detchen finds out your thoughts.
The Transport Ministry is looking to charge taxi and Uber service users an extra $1 for every trip, and that extra $1 is to go to the taxi industry to compensate them for the losses they suffered after the Uber entered the market. We hit the streets to find out what the people think about it.
It's not a lot of money, and I don't want to be that guy, but I also just think, where does the buck stop? If you're going to compensate one, you have to compensate every industry for anything that's ever occurred. So I just don't really see the logic in it.
Those who wish to make that $1 donation or more should do it, and those who can't afford it, who do not wish to make that donation, they should not be forced to make that $1 payment.
And I don't really think it's very fair, because it's not their fault that Uber's cheaper or easier. Maybe they should do something about the service of the taxis if obviously there's something wrong with it.
I think it is fair for now. I think that this is a good way to sort of transition into a more free and open service.
Do you think the taxi industry should be compensated at all for the business losses they're suffering?
I wouldn't. I just think it's business, and taxis are twice as expensive, so I don't know why they're sort of taking away from a good business plan that's working and making it cheaper for everyone else.
Not so much the taxi industry, but some drivers may have suffered a great loss, and maybe they should be allowed to apply for compensation from the state government.
Up to the point where they're compensated for the amount that they paid for their ability to be in, to have a taxi service. Beyond that point, no.
What could be some other ways of saving the taxi industry?
Maybe they should be taking points from Uber.
They should build an app like Uber so you can see where your taxi is, and they should actually come to the right address. I know they need to sort out their booking system or something. That's how taxis, I reckon, will be saved. It's by being better.
Yeah, maybe take notes and have a look at what's better for the people rather than industry-led, maybe.
I don't think that the taxi industry should be saved necessarily. I don't think the taxi industry is dying. I think that it's just transforming into something a little bit different. It's not fair that they paid up front under the assumption that they would exclusively run the taxi service, but it's also not fair to block everyone else out.
I would say it requires the expertise of the taxi industries like the Uber and the chauffeur, the new one that has come, and they need to put their heads together and come to some sort of agreement so it's fair for all.
Detchen Ongmo reporting for Undercurrent.
Stay with us for more Undercurrent after a short break. Welcome back to Undercurrent. Living Smart is a course which teaches participants to reduce their environmental impact one step at a time. This week they held a very special gardening day, and I went down to find out more. Today we're in Beaconsfield and behind me is the home of Tim and Shani, who are facilitators for Living Smart. And this morning they're holding a very special gardening day for the community to learn tips and tricks on gardening and sustainable living. Shani, you're a facilitator for Living Smart. Can you tell us a little bit about this non-profit organisation?
Well, Living Smart started a few years ago, and it was a sort of collaboration between a university and some local councils. And the program was designed to increase people's awareness a little bit, but also ability to actually do something and take action on some of the major environmental issues facing the world today. So the program's more about action than it is about information. It gets people together in a really community-minded way. So we use a lot of active adult learning principles to get people to meet each other, talk to each other, get motivated from each other, and then they set a goal. So they actually might say, I'm going to plant a garden. Having been here at the gardening day today, it might inspire them hopefully to go, I'm going to plant a veggie garden at home. As part of each Living Smart course, the group goes on some sort of outing. So for us today, what we decided to do was make the gardening session of our course a hands-on session. So gardening's not the only thing that we learn in Living Smart, but it's one of 10 topics. But they range from kind of healthy you and the chemicals in your home through to transport and the future of energy, simply living and waste. And the big ones are power, water. And so gardening is one of the ones, though, that's really good to do in a hands-on way. So we've decided to turn that into a bit of an outing today. We've been making raised garden beds. So we wanted to show people how they can use recycled materials rather than buying new. And so my partner Tim has made a raised garden bed. I'm going to show people how they can fill that with a no-dig soil. And then we've been doing some seeding up. We've made these funky little newspaper pots. And then lastly, this afternoon, Tim's going to actually put drip irrigation on those beds so that people can see how easy it is, I suppose, to install irrigation into their garden.
How have you incorporated sustainable living into your life?
I actually live the life. I have chickens at home. I have my entire yard back and front are edibles. I have 23 fruit trees at the moment and adding every day. I eat what I grow. Predominantly, I very rarely do shopping anymore. Since doing the course, I've actually learned how to further that by making my own deodorants and toothpastes, things like that. So it's really interesting. It's been a great course. It's so important to look after the environment, look after your if not just your personal environment, you can take it outside with recycling. It helps everybody. The small bits that you do at home can be big outside of your home, and you may not realise that you're doing such good things, but you actually are.
Well, the next topic we're doing tomorrow night is community. So we're actually getting a couple of speakers in from local community groups that have an emphasis on sustainability. And we're going to watch a short TED talk about developing community in your street. And then it's celebration time. We're going to have a bit of a celebration of to where we've come from and all the actions that people have taken that have been successful for them. And also planning a little bit into the future. What are their future goals?
Lucy Marchant for Undercurrent. Phil Walley-Stack was raised in country Western Australia and he was taught traditional song and dance by his elders, and more recently he's taken his singing passion to international stages. Michael met with him at one of his concerts in Perth.
To coincide with NAIDOC Week, Indigenous singer and songwriter Phillip Walley-Stack will be performing tonight here at the Astor Theatre as part of his Walk With Me tour. He will be supported by his uncle Richard Walley and other supporting artists. And I'll be speaking to Phillip about his passion for music. Phillip, thank you for making yourself available to speak to West TV. First of all, tell us about your Aboriginal heritage.
It's Well, it is the oldest living culture in the world, and we're proud of that.
And that's the main thing about our culture and our heritage, is that it's a strong culture that we have, and it's all about sharing and looking after each other and looking after the land, you know.
What does music mean to you?
Well, music is a good way to put across our stories, our culture, our understanding, and our way of living. And music opens a lot of doors to be able to stand on a big stage and to perform in front of a lot of people and to tell our stories and to sit back and entertain people. It's a good avenue to be able to have an audience sitting down and listening to your music, but you're telling the stories through your music.
So whenever you perform on stage like tonight, what message are you hoping to give to the audience?
Understanding. With culture comes respect, and it goes both ways. It's a two-way street. So I just want to show that to our people, you know. We can get up on stage and we can have all these lights and we can have all the smoke machines and this big sound system and really entertain people and tell our stories. And then for the non-Indigenous people, is for them to have another look at our people, our culture and our way of living, instead of seeing what's on the 6 o'clock news every night, how Aboriginal people are depicted and classified as criminals or drunks, when we're not. The majority of us are business people. We've got goals, we've got struggles like everybody else, and it's just showing that we can all come together. And that's what I want to try and show in our shows and get across to people, is that it doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, we can all walk together. And that's what Walk With Me was all about.
First of all, tell us about your Indigenous heritage.
I'm Richard Walley. I'm a Nyunga. I've got Wajak, Birinjarab, Balladong, Ewart, Wardan and Yamaji connections. And I've been performing and presenting cultural presentations for about 45 years.
So wherever you perform, what message are you trying to get to your audience?
It mixes. Sometimes there's a message about who we are, where we're from, the experiences we've had, the confrontations that we've come up against, the obstacles that we've been faced with and got over and around, or that's stopping us. And other times just pure entertainment, just going up and saying, let's have some fun, because everyone's got enough issues as they are. And tonight, just enjoy yourself with some laid back, no message. That's a blend that I put out there.
Phillip Walley-Stack is an international artist, having performed throughout America, Europe and Asia over the past few years. Tonight's concert showcases how talented he is. Michael So reporting for Undercurrent.
The winners of the 28th Annual WA Screen Awards were announced this week, and West Television were awarded Outstanding Achievement for Live TV Production. Lauren Brunswick hosted the red carpet.
Oh, hi there. Welcome to the 28th Annual WA Screen Awards. The West Australian Screen Awards are probably they are the biggest award ceremony for West Australian filmmakers. It's kind of the night that culminates the year for short film, long films, documentaries, animations and everything, as well as interactive and games, which has now been included. It's a really nice night because a lot of filmmakers work independently to one another and around one another, so it's kind of nice to see everyone clashing together, have a few drinks.
My first film has actually been nominated tonight for an award, which is pretty exciting.
First cab off the rank? No way. What is it? Tell me about it.
It's called True Colours, and it deals with the important issue of homophobic bullying in a private boys' school. So it's a really important issue that was important to me back in my school days, but it's still just as relevant today as it is back then.
This is Miss Alexandra Nell. So tell me about the film that you were in.
So it was written and directed by David Benson Smith, one of the best directors in my opinion. It was amazing, a great experience, and awesome to be back on Perth soil.
So tell me more about this film.
It's basically about a character that's sort of going through a rough time in his life, lost his wife and kid in a car accident that was hit by a police vehicle. So it's a sort of an emotional journey that he goes through trying to find himself, put himself on the right track. It's It's got a bit of an Aboriginal theme over the spiritual theme over the film as well.
You want to give out some awards now, ladies and gentlemen? You want to give out some awards? Let's validate some arts degrees. Too harsh, sorry about that. So now, for the first award, the Revelation Perth International Film Festival Best Cinematographer Short Form.
The award goes to We Were Here, Lewis Parks.
I didn't think I would win. Thanks to the crew. Thanks for Dave to having me shoot all your films. I hope I get to shoot that feature you're trying to get fund for. It's Scott, Ross, Tobias, all the crew that was working on it. I don't know. That's about it. Yeah.
The WA Screen Award goes to Flushed, Richard Ames.
Just thanks to my actors for coming on board, and thanks to the Black Box who you heard on there for just giving me something kind of to add a bit of energy to the edit, and especially to my wife, Helena, who just tells me everything that I don't want to hear at 3 a.m, like, you know, stop cutting corners and fix that up and all that stuff. So, yeah, thank you very much. Thanks.
And the winner is Alexandra Nell for We Were Here.
By far the coolest night of my life. It is by far the greatest moment ever. I'm shaking right now. Thank you so much to everyone involved. Thank you to FTI for making this night possible. Thank you to David Vincent Smith for writing and directing this piece. As he mentioned before, he's the best old mate I've ever had in my life. He is incredible. To the entire cast and crew, this is the best thing ever. So thank you so much to everyone. Hope you have a great night, and I'll chat to you later.
So what does it mean to be winners of the student film category?
I don't know. I think it gives us an opportunity to show that we can make a good film and that we can tell a good story, even at the amateur level that we're coming out into the industry with. I made this film, or I wrote this film, filling out A to Z budgets in a class one time. Really menial task, and the fact that it's developed so far into a story that it became and earned an award for it, it's pretty ecstatic to earn something like this.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks to everyone who's been involved, and best up to you.
Thank you for watching this episode of Undercurrent. Don't forget you can now watch us online or on your mobile devices. Take care. We'll see you next week.